All right, welcome to my FX Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there's other mediums to enjoy this content. And this one's going to be good. This is there's it's covering 3 days, right? 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but actually I'm not. There's just certain articles. I've posted quite a few articles on the blog, and the blog is at myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. But I'm not going to go over them. I'm going to just go over a few that I think are important. Okay. And so anywhere that you're listening to this or watching, look for a more in, info, like information, something like that button. You click on that, another little box opens, and there's a link that takes you directly to the blog. Okay, rumble.com has videos, my FX Buddies. Spotify.com has audio and video content, my FX Buddies. And yeah, anywhere, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, anywhere that I post under my FX Buddies. All right. So we'll get into it. I so wanted to post yesterday. There was enough news that came out yesterday that I could have talked about 30 minutes, right? But it just didn't work out. So now I have to cram it in here. So the title article is Joint Statement by Sudani Office. Actually, I changed it. I had to make it short, but they call it the Sudanese, but it's Sudani's office, and the central bank on the modernization of the banking sector. All right, so this came out, like I said, yesterday on the 4th. Now what's interesting, okay, there's really nothing new here. It's all, I was explaining earlier to a different group. Every time I read this, it's like blah, 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 blah. It says really good things, right? But it's just like repeating phrases over and over. But there's some changes. So the CBI is an independent body. In the past couple of years, they've been emphasizing their independence. We're the ones that change the rate. We're independent, right? But this is a joint statement from both, from Sudani's office and the CBI governor, which makes me feel Sudani is having more of a hand in the operations of the CBI. And now that we're in this new administration, who's whispering in Sudani's ear? And actually, I don't even think it's a whisper at this point. I think it's demands. Yes, the new administration, I feel. And we'll go into this, and I'll explain to you why I think that. More and more as time goes by, I'm starting to think that. Okay? So the government, in cooperation with the Central Bank of Iraq, no more the CBI is independent, right? Even though it is technically for their legal papers, the CBI is independent. They're working together now. And so read this. Let me just say some of the banking reforms constitute an important pillar of the economic reform adopted in the government program in order to complete the steps the government has started in this framework in order to achieve a package of development targets that require banking development, right? So all of that, it's good things. The comprehensive banking reform process. They're up to international standards, right? Working with supervisory frameworks with international partners, which contributes to achieving sustainable growth, blah, blah, blah. Great stuff, right? So here there's 4 areas. And number 3 is harmonization and conformity with international standards. So I like that because that's they're no longer smuggling money. And what's the other thing? smuggling and money laundering, right? And then also the financing of the word that starts. It sounds like error, errorist. How about that? Error, but put a T in front of it, right? No more financing that. And so then I got to this sentence here. The implementation details of these reforms will be presented later. I said, no wonder it sounds like gobbledygook, because that's what it is. It's a bunch of gobbledygook. But it was a major announcement. It was everywhere in the news. They tweeted it. This version here is the version that's on the CBI website. And it's pretty much word for word. I think there may be one or two less sentences in this one than the one up here. But this one's easier to read. See, it's not bolded. The font is different and it's not bolded and all of that. So I put both of them there just so you could know. This was a big announcement. Yeah. All right. So it seems to be forward movement. Like maybe they're moving to the next phase of whatever, right? Okay. Sammy, that's the Minister of Finance, stresses importance of partnership with America in supporting financial stability and economic reforms. So it's all about banking reforms, economic reforms. We're over there. The World Bank is over there. You know, I'm sure some of you have probably forgotten. The U.S. Treasury has a whole floor of the fancy smancy CBI building. But so this was a meeting. I love this picture too. Anyway, this was a meeting between the Minister of Finance, Miss Sammy, as I call her, and a reception of U.S. Charge Day Affairs. Anyway, whatever that is. Daniel Rubenstein. And there's a picture, yeah. So there's a group, and I bet you there was more people. That's just who they let in the picture. So they were noting Iraq's commitment to enhancing an attractive investment environment and developing the financial sectors. All right, let's see here. Iraq and Jordan discuss work stages in joint border economic city. So this is important. However, they've been working on this even when Kazemi was in office. Kazemi was really close to, I want to say consummating, but not that word, but the definition of that word. It was a tripart agreement between Iraq, Jordan, and Egypt, but it didn't get finished under his time, and Sudani came in, and the whole thing just fell apart. So I think that's what they're doing now, is going back to that and bringing it back together, but separately. They're no more of this tripart stuff. Okay, now this is important. So since they're really delving into the oil thing with Kurdistan and Baghdad, it's coming out that the Ramadan Bank was involved with smuggling money for oil, right, to Iran. And so that's why they had to have four different auditing groups, right? And so they're going through that. Iraq clarifies allegations of purchasing or receiving quantities of Iranian oil and re-exporting it. So you can read this, but basically this is saying yes, they were doing it. So smuggling out money, taking in Iran's oil and selling it marked as Iraqi oil. They were doing that. Now, is Sudani going to get in trouble for that? Probably not, because it probably was happening before he even got there, right? So they're wrapping all this stuff up. You can read that, like I said, if you like. So this is the House Speaker right here. He was in Iran for 2 days. I think he was there for 2 days. Whatever. He's back home in Baghdad. So I thought they were going to put out a list of all the people that he met with, like they do when Sudani goes out. But so far, I haven't seen that. But Iran is a very strong supporter of Iraq. Well, for now, because let me see. Here, they launched another digital platform. You could read that, but for lack of time, I'm going to skip that. But forward movement, right? Here, this is Aliyah Locke. He met with the French ambassador, and they had a whole delegation. Look at that, of people. And who is here? Businesses and banks. French banks, right here, see? Which included a number of French banks and companies in various sectors. And who was at the meeting on the Iraqi side? The central bank and the director of the Trade Bank of Iraq. So this is a very good meeting connecting. It's an official statement, right? This is from the CBI website. So they're making banking connections with French banks and companies. So good, good, good. All right, let's see. Kurdistan Region Finance Minister announces reaching an agreement with Baghdad to pay the 2025 salaries. So here's that. Remember, I was saying they're gonna have to make is it mutual? A third party group that they trust. Mediator, like a mediator. But here's what they're calling it. A specialized international consultant will determine within 60 days the cost of extracting and transporting a barrel of oil from each field separately. But remember, I think we're already 30 days into that 60 days. Okay. Here's another military article. So you could read that. It says high-ranking American official will visit Baghdad soon. And if you haven't read the T-Man has said, yeah, we're not going to leave until this term's over. So they're working on that. Yeah. So we'll see how that's going to go over. Hold on, I'm doing something. Okay, so here's my one commercial. Buy me a coffee. If you go here, this is a link for people who like links, and this is the QR code. Some people have gone there. Thank you. I appreciate you. And then I do make other like PayPal, Cashapp, all that's available in that other place. Okay, look at this. So this is Reuters. I also believe Bloomberg may have had an article about this. Maximum pressure. The T-Man is resuming maximum pressure on Iran. But at the same time, he says, but I'm ready to negotiate with the Iranian president. So I'm thinking, oh, and somewhere in here it says maximum pressure. Oh, wait. Maximum pressure on Iran is maximum pressure on Iraq. Okay, here. This is Representative Joe Wilson. He's been talking a lot. And so I'm just going to read this to you now. Try to keep it in your brain. But maximum pressure on Iran means maximum pressure on Iraq. Start with the Rafidan Bank at U.S. Treasury and stop letting Iraqi militias and the Iranian regime smuggle $500 to $600 million a month from Iraq's biggest bank. And then he says the T-Man will fix it. He's got a lot of confidence, doesn't he? Okay, this was a tweet on the, is that February 5th? That is, right? Yeah, that's February 5th. Okay, because they put the date backwards. All right, so with this, he wants zero oil of Iran's being purchased. Now, how can he do that? He can't. But I think as part of his negotiation and swinging a big stick, right? He says things like that. But there are, let me see, Indonesia, I think, and another country are telling Iran, yeah, sorry, we're going to back away from buying your oil. You know, there's a new sheriff in town over there, and he's wiling out. So, yeah. But, so now here, so keep that in mind. The T-Man is like, I'm putting full pressure on Iran. He doesn't want any money going to them, and he doesn't want anyone buying their oil. And so Iraq has been busted relabeling their oil and selling it, right? So they're going to put an end to that. So that ends some of the Iranian money. So keep, bookmark that. So now here is where you can see restructuring Ramadan and Rashid banks and insurance companies are on the table of the Ministry of Finance meeting. So there was a meeting with the Insurance Bureau, Ernst & Young, someone's there on our behalf. So this was an official meeting because, see, it came from the Ministry of Finance, like official page. All right. Yeah. Well, someone is there on our behalf too. But anyway, so they're saying, okay, now you guys have been busted. No more smuggling of the money. We're restructuring you to get you where you can line up with global um, global standards, right? Okay. Oh, here they're launching another. Well, this says first issue, so it's another type of bond specifically for the public, right? So, but I posted it here because there'll be people out there who will say they can't do that on 1310. Well, they did. They did this on 1310, and it's not the first group of bonds. They've done those MR bonds, EMAAR, and some other bonds. And then the terms and everything are in there. Steamer! And it's in dinars. Yeah. So that's awesome. Okay. Sammy meets with Ernst & Young to restructure banks. So here's another. Okay, here's the meeting. Excuse me. Here's the picture I was looking for. So see, it's a pretty big meeting, right? So at least one or two of these people are representing, even if it's Ernst & Young, right? They're representing us. All right. So yeah. So this is a different article. You can read this if you like. Also, here, this is curious to me. The State Administration Coalition, and this is not Maliki's coalition, this is a different one. They're getting their own special meeting at the government palace. And this is on Saturday, and it's going to happen on Saturday, and they're discussing the same things. The general situation and examine a number of priority files at the national level. So I just think that's very interesting. Why couldn't they be at the meeting they had last week? Right? But whatever. All right, here, NATO. So the president, all those names he goes by. He, met NATO Security General. We welcome businessmen and investors to benefit. And then also he met with Sudani. But Sudani here, he invited him to Brussels. So there's a meeting in the coming period. Let me see. Not even the coming days. It says the coming period somewhere in here. And not only do they want him, soon, sorry, gathering that will be held soon in Brussels. And they want Sudani to deliver a speech there. Isn't that interesting? Huh. All right. There was one more thing. No, I think that's it. Okay. So in Kurdistan, Saturday, they planned a multiple city, actually, it says all cities, sit in. But I'm not sure why. Even the teachers, they went educational cadres. Now, I don't know if those are the people that are on strike. There's a group of people on a hunger strike. It's been 9 days, 8 or 9 days. And we could live a long time without food, right? Not water, but food. But anyway, so yeah, I'm not sure what. I know it has something to do with money, right? So agreement regarding the salaries, because they haven't been paid yet. Although there was an article, I don't think I have it in here, but there was an article where Baghdad sent almost $1 trillion to the Kurdistan region to pay salaries. And that just came out either yesterday or the day before. So if I'm looking at that, I'm like, okay, you know what? The Kurds were the one telling the truth all along. Because Baghdad kept saying, we sent you the money. And they were like, no, you didn't. You didn't send us the money. And then now all of a sudden, Baghdad is like, oh, yeah, we sent you almost $1 trillion to pay the salaries. And the Kurds acknowledge receiving the money. So they were supposed to pay out today, but I didn't see any evidence that they started paying it out today. So I'm thinking even if they pay the Kurdistan people, it's still iffy. It's 1 month and they're still owed back pay, right? So they're probably tired of that, getting paid, not getting paid. So that's probably what the strike is about, among other things. Or a demonstration, whatever. And remember, that's just in Kurdistan, not the whole country, just Kurdistan. All right, so there's a lot going on with the oil, which I was going to go into depth yesterday. Matter of fact, let's see. I think the last paragraph, last article, nope. Anyway, so there's been an agreement to restart the oil through Turkey, Kurdistan to Turkey, right? Let's see. Yeah, that's the mess. Okay. And it came out 2 days ago and it was kind of vague, right? They're like, yeah. And because I couldn't tell by the wording, um, hold on. Rotai. Okay. It says mechanism for the resumption of Kurdistan region oil exports via Ceyhan port. So they are getting ready to do this. They're not doing it yet. So there's procedures, I guess, in writing that they're working on. But also, I've heard that you can't just return on an oil pipeline. It has to be checked for leaks or damage. and it's slowly. It has to be, you know, they have to check pressure and everything to make sure so they're going to build up to the flow that it was. I guess it's easier to shut it down than it is to restart it, right? Plus, it's been almost 2 years. If I'm not mistaken, it's been like 20 months. But this is really great. So we know why the Kurds were so happy, right? I think we discussed the amendment gave them $16 to $22 for the cost of extracting the oil. Did I share that with you? I can't remember because we lost 3 days, right? But yes, so that did happen, and there's nothing about the court case, so I believe they're just gonna ram it through. Forget those 50 people who are like, no, it's not fair. Yeah, we're just putting this through because it's been long enough. So yeah, so they're getting ready to finally pump this oil again. So here is how the flow goes. The mechanism, right? It's going to, so on Wednesday, the full details of the mechanism for the return of the Kurdistan region's oil exports to global markets after a halt that lasted for months due to disputes between the federal government and the regional government. There was a special interview. So some of that oil goes to Somo and they get to sell the oil. But the Somo, even though it's a Iraqi, I think their warehouse is in Turkey, which makes sense, right? But so that's why they have to have all these agreements. See, now that we're looking more detailed, whether we want to or not, you see why they have to get along with Turkey and Kurdistan and who knows who else, right? So they added the responsibility for managing Kurdistan's oil goes beyond the Iraqi borders. And they've amended Article 12. So once the oil is pumped and reaches the border point with Turkey, there will be meters that determine the quantities exported at the border point and when stored in the port of Ceyhan. So they're getting really detailed. So I just wanted you to see that. It does look like they're moving forward. And that's wonderful. And then also that means they got to have a real rate. They're not selling this oil at some little funky rate. They must have, and we know, I mean, a lot of people in Dinarland have believed they've been working out of two books, a more realistic rate for the oil, and they've even had articles that say the details of these contracts will not be released at this time, right? Things like that. So, yeah. But this is good. That's why I was saying this is all good. They got it out in the open. Yes, you were smuggling money. You were reselling the oil. Okay, we've admitted that. We're moving forward. So that's what these are things maybe that had to be cleaned up. Maybe these were things that were a holdup. You know, if you go by the articles, not by all the great intel that we hear from people, right? So I'm really happy to see this. And let's see, I think this is okay. What is this one? Why did I put this here? This is oh, so here's Mashadani, who's the parliament speaker, who is basically one of the presidents of Iraq, but he's not as powerful as Sudani. In Iraq, the prime minister is the most powerful position. Yeah. So I'm guessing Mashadani came back from Iran and they had a meeting and now he's filling in Sudani. saying, well, this is what we talked about. This is what they're willing to do, whatever, right? And now Sudani's going to somehow, we're going to see in the next couple of days, Sudani's going to have communication with either the T-Man or an envoy from the T-Man, and he's going to relay the message, right? That's usually how it works. All right. So here's the last article we'll close out with. They had really great success. Let me see. At let's see if I can do this. Okay, yeah. Great turnout at Baghdad International Fair. There's even one golden opportunities. You probably can't see this. These are articles I just didn't post. Except, no, I was going to post that one, but I was running out of time and I was like, so here, views from exhibitions. So here, this looks like some kind of camera, right? I hope that's not a weapon. I'm hoping it's a camera, solar powered. And then here is pharmaceuticals, I think. But anyway, so yeah, I like this here. Participants, Baghdad International Fair is a golden opportunity for economic cooperation. All right, but the article we're going to close out with talks about the government supports the transition to the digital economy. And this, who is this? This is a different country here. Well, whatever. They had a lot of international, 1,200 countries and companies, right? Combined. So, yeah, so read this. So, it's all good. It's all good. But here, one of the most important challenges facing the current stage is gaining citizens' confidence in electronic payment products, which will contribute to stimulating the money hoarded in homes and transferring it to the banking sector, as this transformation is part of a larger strategy aimed at stimulating the national economy by investing money in a way that serves major projects in the country. So that is even an article you may want to share with people. Yeah, and it's Safwan Kwase, that, Dr. Safwan Kwase. He's one of the financial experts, economic experts, whatever. And he even talks about how Iraq is working with the World Bank. So good, good, good. Nothing but good. Well, it's bad that they were smuggling, right, money and oil, but it's all out in the open. It's going to be halted. They're going to be given, what is it, a new start, a fresh start. And hopefully, whoever has the power to let this rate change go will feel confident and ready to let it go. Something is still going on with Syria, but I can't get details about it. So, I just hope it's not going to become a bigger issue than what it is, and then that be part of our hold up also. All right, so thank you for listening. So today's Wednesday. I doubt there'll be anything good tomorrow, but they always surprise me. You never know with them. But anyway, like I said, I don't like to have too many days go by where I don't post, because then I have to cut things out. So maybe I might even, if there's nothing really good that's new, I might go just do another posting to cover the articles that I really wanted to post. But again, you should really read this maximum pressure article and the joint the first article that's on the blog, the joint statement. Or, just wait till the details come out. Yeah. All right. So again, thank you. I hope this was helpful. Again, I know it seems like we're at a standstill. I really do believe there's conversations going on behind the scene. They just aren't making public. Um, yeah. So hang in there, accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals and pay all your bills. Oh, the dinar dollar rate, it's been pretty steady. It's just not moving. It's not going below 14.90. It's not going above 15.15. So that's good also. Whatever they're doing to maintain the rate, they're doing it. So that's good also. Yeah, all right. I'm done now, for real. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for supporting. It's really appreciated. And until, oh, no. What's the other thing? If there's a like, subscribe, join, follow, whatever button, wherever you're enjoying this content, take whatever actions necessary to activate that button, because I don't post regularly. If all things work like they're supposed to, when you activate that button, if, yeah, you'll be notified, right? If technology works like it's supposed to. All right, I'm done now. Thank you. Until next time.